believe in a God that wants to transform an individual person. You can't choose for your parents, and you can't choose for your children, and you can't choose for your husband, you can't choose for your wife. If you want to see change, if you want the Spirit of God to transform you from the inside out, no matter what anyone else chooses, you got to choose surrender. You got to choose to change your priorities to God's priorities. You got to choose to trust the fact that if you seek first Him, His way of doing things, finding self-esteem and self-worth in Him and serving Him, that He will take care of all your other details. That you'll be better in your job. You'll be better in your home. You'll be better in the community. That you'll be a better version of you simply by chasing after the heart of God. Many of the addictions that you struggle with because you're bored, there's nothing else to do, so you do something stupid. And then what the addiction part is that whenever you need something, that's what you go, that's your drug of choice, that's your coping mechanism, that's your habit or your behavior that makes you feel okay for a short period of time. But then you walk away feeling guilt, you walk away feeling shame, you walk away feeling whatever you feel, right? The point is the moment you make a choice to give everything you are to Christ, it changes the game. Quit complaining about stuff you complain about. Quit whining about silly stuff. Quit talking about crap you have nothing to do with. Give your life to Christ and say, God, how do you use me today? I mean, who are you scouting out? What's the area that God's working in you that He's, it's not like every day is a, whatever. Some days it's just called perseverance, right? I mean, some days as God speaks it, we choose to surrender and cooperate with God, or we don't. And then we persevere and we walk it through and we wait. If you're a deer hunter, you've done that, right? You don't expect to be a deer hunter or a turkey hunter or whatever thing you hunt. Fisherman, you don't expect to go out and then walk out, get out of the vehicle, walk over to the whatever and either shoot it or catch it like in 30 seconds, or bam, okay, get back in the truck, let's go home. You don't do that. You'll sit there for weeks and wait for something to walk by that has big enough antlers to shoot. Right? It's called perseverance. Anybody who's a good hunter has learned to persevere because it's important to them. Are you tracking? I mean, pick the topic. You start a new business, it don't blow up overnight. You don't just put a shingle on the door and all of a sudden all the money and all the people start showing up, right? It's called perseverance. You don't decide to have a baby and all of a sudden, bam, you got a baby in your hands. I mean, a woman has to surrender their entire body, and 9 months later, there's a baby. But it's really painful, right? Life is that way. That's the process. That's God's normal way of doing things. That's what God does. You can't just say, let's go do this, and there it happens. God is developing you. He's making you the person He wants you to be. And when we choose not to cooperate with God, see, the biggest problem is we sit back and we say, well, I prayed prayers or I did things and it didn't work out. When it doesn't work out, one of two things are true. Either A, it didn't come from God, because even the story, and you see the bones, okay, speak to the bones, the bones. It's not Ezekiel makes stuff up. It's, here's what the sovereign Lord says. You tell the bones they're going to grow. You tell the bones, I'm going to speak. When it says breath, it's the Holy Spirit. I'm going to speak life into them. They're going to live. You tell the bones that. You tell them God said that. That's what he's saying, right? The story always begins with God. So when you do your thing, pray your prayers, whatever it is, it didn't work out, one or two things are true. Either A, it didn't begin with God, or B, you didn't cooperate with God. A church preaches a nice message. When God doesn't respond, if things don't take place or whatever they're supposed to be talking about, either A, it didn't come from God. Good ideas don't necessarily come from God. Sometimes God's the guy who gives you the crazy idea that don't make any sense at all. Or B, we just didn't surrender. We didn't cooperate. We didn't obey. If you run a sales office, your employee comes to work and you give them 10 warm contacts to go contact. Here's 10 contacts. They've already been talked to once. They got some level of interest in them. Statistically speaking, you ought to sell 3. They come back at the end of the day, how many did you sell? None. None? You're kidding me, none? Nope, didn't sell any. Well, what did you do? Oh, I went to Starbucks, drank coffee. Why didn't you sell any? Because you was at Starbucks drinking coffee. That's the church in a lot of cases. It's not God's not at work. It's not God doesn't want to demonstrate his power. It's that we're on coffee break. We're more worried about our landscaping than the souls of men. We're more worried about our haircut than people's lives. We're more worried about what car we were driving or the grades our kids got than about being transformed by the power of God and being used by him to transform others. I know I'm stupid. I'm naive. I know. I know to a lot of people, they might think I say what I say because of what I'm supposed to say. I actually believe in a God that does exactly what he says he's going to do. I believe in a God that can take desolate cities and bring them back to life. I believe in a God can transform an individual and a family. I believe in a God that wants to take a dry land full of dry bones, full of people who have a structured religion but have never experienced the powerful one, who've never experienced personal relationship, who've never experienced the power of the Holy Spirit flowing through them. I believe in a God who is the exact same God who the Bible speaks of. That Bible is absolutely true. It didn't just happen, but that same God is willing to repeat and do those kind of powerful things on any given day, that his people are willing to surrender themselves, humble themselves before him, and obey.